is, well, she was wrong. And nobody, I mean, whatever the situation is, unless the Holy Spirit moves on somebody's heart, it's hard to get people to reconcile. And I remember years ago having a situation like that when we were in our first church that we were in, and I was the president of the choir, and we had a situation where one of the members' brother was in the choir, and there were some things that were going on, and it was some things having to deal with that he wasn't living right. And he was in the choir, and being the president of the choir, I sat him down. He couldn't sing in the choir. And his sister got angry with me, and we were close friends. And no matter what I did to try and reconcile that situation, it was like iron. She wouldn't budge, because she couldn't see. It was a personal issue for her. She couldn't see it from the aspect of it was the right thing to do, considering the situation. But it was a personal thing for her, and she would not budge. We never became best friends again. Of course, I got over it, and obviously she did, and I see her occasionally, and we speak and greet one another. But it was the hardest thing to do, and I tried everything. I called her, wrote her letters and everything, but she would not budge because she couldn't. I was wrong. That was her brother. Okay. So a quarrel between close relatives or close friends often is the hardest to mend. Verse 20, a man's moral self shall be filled with the fruit of his mouth, and with the consequences of his words he must be satisfied, whether good or evil. Now, inner satisfaction comes from true and good speech. So whatever goes out of your mouth, you need to be ready to deal with whatever consequences come behind it, whether it's good or bad. So it's the true good, and from true and good speech that you have inner peace. But if you speak good words, then you're going to have peace, because you set in motion things by what you say. And if you say them enough, you set those things in motion, and when they come back to you, it's because they have been already set in motion. So it's important that we understand, and verse 21 kind of comes on the heel of that, and it says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they who indulge in it shall eat the fruit of it, for death or life. Matthew 12 and 37 says, if you turn with me there, let's look at Matthew 12 and 37. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. So our words will either justify us, or our words will condemn us. Amen?
Amen.
The tongue has potential for good or evil. Those who love to use it a lot must be prepared to take the consequences. A person's life, your life, my life, largely reflects the fruit of our tongues. To speak life is to speak God's perspective on any issue of life. To speak death is to declare life's negatives, to declare defeat or complain constantly. So in a lot of situations, we have been speaking death to our life and not life. I know it's words that we've been used to saying, and sometimes, we say them without even thinking about them. And words do what they do. It doesn't matter whether you were just playing or kidding. But if you say it often enough, words do what they do. They set in motion. The way you talk all the time creates how you begin to think. And how you begin to think is how you act. We're not conscious of what we say. And those words that we're saying, our minds and our bodies I mean, our minds are like a computer. It just computes that. It inputs the data. And then everything else just begins to fall in line with that. We begin to think that way. We begin to act that way. So words are very important. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains the favor of the Lord. Now you notice that, ladies? The man has to find you. That's what the scripture said. Who finds a wife finds a good thing. A man who finds a good wife finds a treasure. It is a token of the Lord's favor when he finds a godly, helpful bride. She is a woman of noble character and will do him good all the days of her life. The poor man uses entreaties, but the rich answers roughly. The poor often speak softly, humbly, and pleadingly. Rich people, on the other hand, can respond roughly and be overbearing, but not all rich people are rude and arrogant. There are some really nice rich people. I just don't know them. Not personally. But that, you get the picture there. You know, most of the stuff that you see on TV, you know, what they call them yuppies. Is that right? Am I saying that right? You know, yeah, yuppies and Hollywood and stuff. That means they got money, you know, and they're snobbish and look down on people, you know, and stuff like that. That's the kind of idea that the picture you get. But that the poor person is usually humble, you know, like well, you wouldn't call them, but like Ellie Mae and Jethro. They were they were humble. They were just yeah, they were just ignorant. Okay, all right. But you get the picture of what I'm saying. Now this last one we're gonna look at it just a minute, and but we've quoted this in many different ways. And when I looked at this, I thought, you know, when I looked at all the different versions of what it was saying. So in verse 24, it says, "A man who has friends must himself be friendly, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." Now we have always quoted this, and if you quote it from the King James and the New King James Version, then you're almost saying it, you know, this is what you get. If you follow those New King James and New King Version, the thought is that friendliness wins friends, and that some friends are closer than others. But then in the New American Standard Bible and American Standard and Version and the Darby Bible translation and the World English Bible, and there were others, but I just picked out these four. This is how it reads. "A man of too many friends comes to ruin, but there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother." That's the New American Standard Bible. Now the American Standard Version says, "He that makes many friends does it to his own destruction, but there's a friend that sticks closer than a brother." And the Darby Bible translation says, "A man of many friends will come to ruin because there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother."